just as Mueller indicted a lot of Russians who were engaged in direct election interference and boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence. Because
this is my video update on this Monday, midday, September the 17th. Let's talk about some news. And unfortunately, we have to start things off with Hillary Clinton and her appearance on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow and Hillary Clinton. She said that perhaps it's time to criminalize disinformation, maybe even make it a felony. And a felony for American citizens who spread disinformation. So 3-4 days ago, Blinken, he announced that the Biden White House and the U.S. Treasury, they were placing sanctions on RT, and they were going to go after RT and Russian state media. And they were doing this in order to prevent Russian disinformation. So they were going to block funding to RT and go on a world tour to global South countries and try to prevent Russian state media from operating in countries in the global South. And this was basically Blinken's announcement of a war against Russian state media and Russian disinformation. And I said in a video talking about Blinken's declaration of war towards Russian state media and Russian disinformation, I said that sooner or later, they are going to turn this right back around against the American people. I was thinking it's going to take them 6 months to a year to direct this disinformation narrative towards American citizens, but it took Hillary Clinton 3 days. Blinken made this announcement against RT and Russian state media 3 days ago, and here you have Hillary Clinton going on Rachel Maddow and saying, you know what? It's not only about Russian state media. Maybe we should go after American citizens who spread disinformation. And why not make it a felony? Because that will act as a proper deterrent, according to Hillary Clinton. And she references, get this, this is the crazy part about what she said. She actually decides to reference Russiagate when talking about Russian disinformation. The very Russiagate that was Hillary Clinton disinformation. This has been proven that the Russiagate narrative was made up by Hillary Clinton and her campaign manager, Robbie Mook, or whatever the guy's last name was. They made up the whole Russiagate thing actually, I want to go up this way. In 2016, in order to discredit the Trump campaign, completely made up at Hillary Clinton's campaign offices in New York. And that's what she's referencing as a reason to go after American citizens who spread disinformation. She goes back to Russiagate, Hillary Clinton's disinformation masterpiece, I guess you could say, her disinformation disaster, but she would probably consider it her masterpiece. But that is what she referenced. That's how crazy this statement is from Hillary Clinton. Here is an ex-post from Aaron Mate. Hillary Clinton calls for criminal charges and civil penalties against Americans engaged in spreading propaganda. To make her argument against free speech, she invokes the Russiagate scam that itself was the product of her campaign's own propaganda. Speaking of which, the case that she invokes here, Mueller charging some Russians for social media activity, led to Mueller dropping the case after the Russian company showed up to fight the case in court. Exactly. Mueller charged the Russian company with disinformation, believing that the Russian company would never show up in court for the trial. And the Russian company actually showed up. And that meant that Mueller, at that time, would have had to allow discovery. And if he allowed discovery, then it would be exposed that the whole Mueller Russiagate thing was a complete scam, a complete hoax. And so instead of allowing discovery, he decided to throw out the case altogether. If he had gone after an individual, chances are that an individual in Russia would never show up in the United States for the trial, risk arrest and stuff like that. But a company actually showed up. That was his mistake, is he actually charged the company instead of an individual or individuals. And the company showed up and they said, okay, let's start discovery. And Mueller was, we can't have discovery, can we? No. Better to just throw out the whole case. Anyway, that is a great post from Aaron Mate. And Hillary Clinton, she was not done. Oh, no. She was not done in this interview with Rachel Maddow. Hillary Clinton, she decided, just a day or two removed from the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump, she decided to call Trump a dictator. That is what she said. Here is a tweet from Colin Rugg. Clinton made the comments during an interview with far-left host Rachel Maddow. Quote, I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery, his danger to our country. Americans need to understand that they have to take Trump both seriously and literally. He has said what he wants to do. He and his allies with Project 2025, his desire to be a dictator. Americans have to be willing to endure what frankly is discomforting and to some extent kind of painful, to take him at his word and to be outraged by what he represents. We can't go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world. This is a day or two after a second assassination attempt on Trump, and here you have Hillary Clinton calling him a dictator and saying we cannot go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world. To do harm to our country and the world. We cannot allow this man to fix the economy and to try and stop wars. That's what she's saying. We can't allow that. We cannot allow that, because as globalists, we are making a boatload of money with a messed up economy and all of these wars. Man, Hillary Clinton. So we got the news today that Meta, Facebook, they have banned RT. I thought they already banned RT, but apparently not. They have now banned RT. That means RT and Sputnik and RT India and RT Arabic and Africa and Sputnik India and all of the entire RT network has been banned on Facebook, on Instagram. Zucbot, he got the call from his bosses. They called up Zucbot and they gave him the orders. And being a good servant, a good employee, Zucbot said, "Yes, sir, I will get right on it and ban RT, the entire RT network." So that happened today. And an update on the Trump second assassination attempt. The Wall Street Journal, they put out an article with the title, U.S. authorities were warned about suspected Trump gunman Ryan Wesley Ruth criticized Donald Trump and threatened to kill Russian President Vladimir Putin, setting off alarm bells among those involved in Ukraine assistance efforts. So the U.S. authorities knew about this guy. Obviously, they knew about this guy because from what I've read, this guy had previous run-ins with the law. I think he was charged with various felonies. So how did he get a gun? This guy has a track record of committing crimes, from what I read, and I wonder how he got a gun, how he made it from Hawaii, where he was actually living, to Florida, how he knew that Trump was going to play golf at this day and time, because my understanding is that this wasn't announced. The Trump campaign did not say that Trump was going to play golf at this location, at this day, and at this time. How did he do all of this? How did he get the weapons if he was if he had a history of crimes and felonies? I don't know. This is my understanding of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about this information. But either way, the Wall Street Journal is saying that they had this guy on the radar. So that's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. The Ukraine Foreign Legion, they came out with a statement, and they said that this guy was in Kiev, and he did approach the Foreign Legion to fight for the Ukraine military, but they turned him down. The Foreign Legion said that they talked to him, they listened to what he had to say, and they basically concluded that he was a nutcase, and they turned him down, and they sent him on his way. I believe that. I actually believe that. I think when you listen to this guy and you look at him, you say this is not someone who's going to be able to serve in the Foreign Legion, and he's kind of out there. So they turned him down and they sent him away, and that's the statement that they came out with. So that's an update on the shooter. By the way, the Kremlin, they were asked about the second assassination attempt, and Peskov, the spokesman, he said this doesn't concern Russia. He said this is not our concern. This has nothing to do with us. And Peskov said that when you play with fire, this is what happens. Here's his quote: "That's not us, but the U.S. intelligence services who should be thinking about this. In any case, playing with fire has its consequences," when he was asked about the second assassination attempt. So that is the statement from Peskov, and that is the update on the second assassination attempt against Trump. And let's now talk about Elensky's interview with CNN. CNN seems to have very good access to the Elensky administration, huh? They seem to get all of the interviews with Elensky and Elensky officials. But this time we have Fareed Zakaria interviewing the man in the green T-shirt. Though Alinsky, he did get dressed up for this interview. He wore a black long sleeve shirt for this interview with CNN's Zakaria. And Alinsky, he said some very interesting things. It does appear as if Alinsky has finally understood that Ukraine is going to lose, and they're going to lose big. Alinsky did not look very good in this interview, and he has come to the understanding that Ukraine is toast, and he's toast. You could see it in his facial expressions, in his look, in the answers that he gave to the questions. Alinsky's in trouble, and he seems to finally know it. So what did Alinsky say? Well, he said that the Russian military, they have a 12-to-1 advantage in artillery shells. 12-to-1. That's the advantage of the Russian military. He said that Ukraine tried to put together 12 or 14 brigades, and they failed. They could only put together 4 brigades. Quite an admission there. He said that Russia has destroyed 80% of the electric grid. By the way, Annalena Baerbock, she's disappeared, hasn't she? Because Ukraine is crumbling, Germany is crumbling, and Annalena 360 has gone into hiding. But she did appear briefly yesterday to announce that Germany is going to give Ukraine 100 million to prepare for the winter, because the big fear from the European Union, they are absolutely terrified of this, is that Russia decides to take out the electric grid in Ukraine, which they can do with a couple of big Iskander strikes, and Russia's producing a lot of Iskanders. They could take out the electric grid in the winter, and for the EU, that could mean a big Ukraine migrant refugee crisis. A lot of Ukrainians, where are they going to go if the electric grid is completely knocked out by the Russian military? They're going to go to Europe, to the EU, to Poland, to Hungary, Slovakia, Romania. And Germany is panicking. The EU is absolutely panicking about this. And Elensky said it, 80% of the grid is completely destroyed by the Russian military. Quite an admission from Elensky. And Elensky, he also started to talk about his victory plan, a victory plan that I have the feeling he doesn't even know exactly the details of his victory plan. But broadly speaking to his victory plan, Elensky has a big picture understanding of what his victory plan is going to be. I don't think he has any of the details ironed out, because I don't think there are any details that could deliver victory for Ukraine. But basically, Elensky told Zaharia that his victory plan is going to be five points. 4 points are the main points, and 1 point in the victory plan comes after the four parts of the plan are concluded. That's what he said. And basically, his victory plan is about weapons and money. That's basically what he told Zaharia. I mean, that's it. He needs weapons, and he needs money, and he's going to terrorize the Russian people. There you have it. That's his victory plan. As I've been saying in many videos, long-range missiles to hit Russian territory. And it's not about hitting military assets. Even Elensky, in this interview with CNN, he admitted that Russia has moved all of their, or most of their, military assets out of the range of ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles. So if Elensky's even admitting this, Lloyd Austin has said this, the Pentagon has said this, now Elensky is saying this, then why do you need the long-range missiles? What are you going to go after if you're not going to, if the military infrastructure is out of range? What are you going to go after? My own belief is that Elensky's going to go after nuclear power plants. That's what I think he wants to hit. Because in this interview, he said he wants to terrorize the Russian people. He wants to make it uncomfortable for Russian citizens to live. Because if it's uncomfortable for Russian citizens, then they're going to put pressure on Putin to capitulate. Here is what Elensky said. I am sure that Putin, is afraid of only one thing. No leaders, no countries, no anything. He is afraid of his society, the Russian people. If the Russian people are in danger, if they don't have a comfortable life, if they live without energy like our people, they will understand the price of war. They will not be happy with it and will begin to influence him, Putin. So I believe that he wants the long-range missiles so that he can go after civilian targets, energy infrastructure, and to try and get some sort of a regime change in Russia, or at least chaos in Russia, so that Putin is pressured to capitulate in one form or another. But that's the victory plan, guys. That is the victory plan. Weapons, money, long-range missiles, hold on to Kursk, and try to scare the Russians into capitulation, scare Putin into capitulation. That's what he told CNN. No surprise. No surprise there. He doesn't have any details as to how he's going to do all of this. This is just Elensky trying to put together some sort of plan that he could sell Biden on, so that he can get the long-range missiles to begin to try and get some sort of chaos or regime change going in Russia. That's it. That is it. And money, of course, money. Got to get money to Elensky. He needs money. So, what else did he say? I think that's it. I think that's pretty much the important parts of his interview to CNN. The Financial Times, they are reporting that the EU is now putting together a $40 billion loan to Project Ukraine. $20 billion to $40 billion is what the EU is trying to put together without the financial help of the United States. The US is tapping out, man. They are tapping out. But the Financial Times is saying that the European Union, they're panicking. They understand that they need to get money to Project Ukraine ASAP. And the problem is that the US and Europe, they agreed to a $50 billion loan to Ukraine. But the US put one condition. They said, okay, we'll go in with you, Europe, on a $50 billion loan to Ukraine, but we have one condition. The freezing of the Russian assets every 6 months. The European Union takes a vote if they're going to continue to freeze the Russian frozen assets. So every 6 months, they have to vote on continuing to freeze the Russian frozen assets at Euroclear. And the US's condition was that you have to make it every 36 months. You have to take the vote, not 6 months. You vote on it every 36 months. That was their condition, and Hungary's blocking this. Hungary's saying no. Every 6 months, we should take a vote on continuing to freeze the Russian frozen assets. And because Hungary's blocking this vote, the European Union cannot go in halvesies with the United States on this $50 billion loan, and trying to get money to Ukraine before the US elections out of fear that Trump is going to win. The EU is now trying to put together a $20 to $40 billion loan without the United States. That's what's going on here. You know why the US wants this to be 36 months, right? They want it to be 36 months. The EU taking a vote on freezing the Russian assets, which most of it is in Brussels at Euroclear. They want this to be 36 months because if you have to take a vote on continuing to freeze the Russian assets every 3-4 years, then eventually people are just going to forget about the 300 billion. I think I was saying 300 million, 300 billion. People are going to forget about the 300 billion, and then you can start to take the money, right? That's basically what they're banking on. They don't want a vote coming up every 6 months because they don't want to talk about it every 6 months. They just want the whole thing to disappear. Let's not talk about 300 billion in Russian assets in Europe. Shh, quiet. Let's not vote on it. Let's not discuss it. We're already dipping into that money anyway. Let's just continue to dip into it and just let it be. That's why they want this every 36 months. And Hungary's saying, no. Every 6 months, we're going to talk about these Russian frozen assets. Oh boy, so now they're trying to put together a up to 40 billion euro loan. And you know that Ukraine is good for it, right? Yeah, they're good for this loan. They're going to absolutely pay back this money. It's a joke, man. Might as well just flush that money down the toilet if you do get this loan. Things are going bad for Ukraine on the front line as well. We are getting reports from the blog Military Watch. They are saying that of the 31 Abrams tanks that Bidenopolis gave to Elensky, 20 of those tanks have been destroyed. And they're seeing a lot of Abrams tanks now being destroyed by the Russian military. And this is alarming, according to Military Watch. And they're being destroyed by drones. And it looks like the Russians, according to Military Watch, the Russians have figured out the weaknesses of the indestructible Abrams tank, you know, the wonder weapon that was the Abrams tank. The Russians have figured it out, and they're able to destroy the Abrams tanks now a lot quicker than when they first appeared on the front lines, a lot easier than when they first appeared in Ukraine. So 20 of the 31, according to Military Watch, of the tanks have been destroyed. The situation in Ugledar is catastrophic for Alinsky. It looks like the Ukraine military is about to be encircled in Ugledar. That would be a massive, huge defeat. In Bakrovsk, it looks like the Russian military is working towards an encirclement of the Ukraine military in the key supply logistics hub of Bakrovsk. That's going to be absolutely catastrophic and devastating for Alinsky. And in Kursk, the media is not reporting on this. The Collective West media does not want to report on this because it destroys the whole Kursk fiction, the narrative around Kursk. But the Russian military, they are demolishing the Ukraine military in Kursk. They are pushing the Ukraine military back from whatever positions inside of Russia they were holding. And the reports are that the Ukraine military is just holding a very small piece of territory very close, the Sudza area, very close to the Ukraine-Russian border. And things are looking absolutely catastrophic for the Ukraine military in Kursk. But the Collective West mainstream media, they do not want to report on this. They don't want to talk about the debacle that is Kursk. So that is the situation on the front lines. Very quickly, just overall a bad situation for Ukraine. A very, very bad, catastrophic situation for Ukraine. Putin and the Russian government, they have signed a decree to increase the Russian military. I believe the decree is to increase the Russian military to 2.4 million soldiers, making the Russian military the second largest military next to China. 2.4 million and something like 1.5 or 1.6 million active military. So that's a big announcement from Russia. And we can now go into a clown world. And in this clown world, we go to the European Union. And remember Terry Breton? Remember that guy? He was actually, I was going to say he is. He was the EU information czar. He was a guy in charge of information or disinformation in the European Union. He put together the DSA, the Digital Security Act or whatever, which was meant to police social media and posts that were unfavorable to the EU globalist kleptocrats. He put that act together. And he was the guy that sent a letter to Elon Musk. Remember that letter that he sent to Elon Musk before Musk was going to interview Trump? And he warned Musk. He said, don't you dare interview Trump. If you interview Trump, the European Union, we're going to go after you. That guy, Terry Breton, he resigned. He resigned. A shock resignation. And the reason he resigned, according to his own post on X, is because Ursula stabbed him in the back. That's right. Ursula betrayed him. That is what he posted on X. Let me find you his own words. This is coming from Terry Breton. A few days ago, in the very final stretch of negotiations on the composition of the future college, the EU Commission college, you asked France to withdraw my name, he's speaking to Ursula now, you asked France to withdraw my name for personal reasons that in no instance you have discussed directly with me, Breton wrote in a scorching message to von der Leyen on X. In light of these developments, further testimony to questionable governance, I have to conclude that I can no longer exercise my duties in the college, Breton continued. I am therefore resigning from any position as European Commissioner, effective immediately. The shock resignation comes a day before the Commission President was expected to unveil the makeup of the College of Commissioners, which she wants to be more gender balanced. Similar EU members, including Slovenia and Romania, have withdrawn male candidates under pressure from von der Leyen, replacing them with women, according to Politico. This is von der Leyen's big concern, right? This is what she's concerned about. The EU economy is in tatters, and this is what von der Leyen is spending her time with, making the EU Commission College more gender equal. Anyway, Breton, he's been Elensky cursed. He's gone. He is the latest victim of the Elensky curse. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch like the t-shirt I am wearing today in this video. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.